Man, let's talk about real estate. Let's talk about property taxes. Let's talk about VA home loan eligibility, all those sexy things that everybody just loves talking about at parties. It may not sound that interesting on the front end, but what is interesting is money and managing your money appropriately and managing your money and your finances in an efficient fashion and in an optimized fashion. And let me tell you, if you're entering into a VA loan, a VA home loan, and you don't know how a mortgage works, or any home loan, if you're going to buy a house and you don't know how a mortgage works, you're wrong. If you don't know if your real estate agent, if you don't know what their role is, and then the seller's agent role is, and all that stuff, you're wrong. You're missing out on key information that will frustrate you and punch you right in the pocketbook. Punch you right in the pocketbook. That just came to me as I was talking. I'm patent pending. I'm trademarking that. Punch you right in the pocketbook. And we brought a familiar face to talk with you, our constituency, here on our weekly office hours, who is a familiar face and a great familiar face. I'm not going to ruin the surprise, but you're going to want to stay tuned for this one. You're going to get informed. You're going to laugh. You're going to cry. You're going to get information. And at the end, you're going to be like, I learned something. And it's going to be great. We're going to do it. We're going to do it all right after this. Whoa, here we go. So before I dive in, I just want to say, anybody that has comments, questions, anybody that notices that I have yellow spray paint on my fingers from yard work and wants to comment on it, throw it in the comments. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, whatever. Just throw it in there. Let's have a dialogue. But in the meantime, you didn't come here to hear me gab, or maybe you did. I don't know. If you did, I'm sorry. But you came here to get some valuable insights and information. And here's a familiar face. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Kit.
Hey.
Kit, how are you?
I am doing great. Doing great. Good to be back with the crew.
You bet. And so for those of you that are either currently or have in the past lived under a rock, Kit was the former director of membership for the Wisconsin Veterans Chamber of Commerce and has since made a transition back to the world of real estate where she had lived before and is just absolutely blowing it up right now. Tell us about that transition a little bit. Get everybody caught up with what's happening in the world of Kit here.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough. When we had to kind of, I wouldn't say shut our doors, but close our doors for a while, and kind of reconfigure in this new norm that we're all living in. So in that time, I decided that by help from a friend, she really encouraged me and pushed me to get into real estate. She owned a brokerage and it was awesome. And so I decided, I'm just going to dive headfirst into this because I love my veteran community. I love my community and having real estate and the veteran population, it really does go hand in hand. I think a lot of people don't realize how many people are out there that don't understand the veteran loans and don't understand the processes and the rules, regulations, tax write-offs, all this cool stuff that goes out there. That just makes Wisconsin, again, top 3 in the country for the best benefits for veterans. So I decided to dive in.
That's a pretty bold statement. And I think you're right. Like a lot of veterans get out of service and part of the American dream or an American dream or their American dream is to own property, is to have a house. And many of them rented throughout the entire tenure that they were in the military. And, God bless our public school system. They taught us how to find a hypotenuse, but not how a mortgage works. So here they are in their 40s, maybe, and they don't know how the process works. And it can be pretty overwhelming. Randy pops in and says, yay, it's Kit. Bill says, Kit's the best. Hey,
Thanks,
Bill,
Bill.
how are you, sir? Anybody's watching on, let's see, we got Facebook. If everybody's watching on LinkedIn Land, YouTube, or even Twitch, say howdy. If you're on Twitch and you're watching, you want to say howdy, we can be best friends. We're still in the single digits of followers over there, so you get to get in.
We'll get up.
Yeah. So you saw a need,
I
you
did.
saw an opportunity,
Good.
and you've noticed that there's a gap. There's an education, there's an information gap
Mm-hmm.
in the veteran community that is a speed bump between them and their American dream of home ownership. Can you tell us about that? That's a big question, though. There's probably
Yeah.
a laundry list.
I mean, it can get very, very deep. We can go into that, we can compartmentalize it. But the overall thing I noticed is even through my journey of home ownership, which was only within the last, 3 years I've owned my home. I didn't understand my VA loan, what the benefits were, until I sat down with my mortgage lender, and he really broke it down for me. And then that office itself gave me perks for being a veteran. So there were certain things that they discounted. There were certain things that they completely waived because I was a veteran. And had I not shopped around and found the best person, then I could have missed out on these kind of benefits that you get. Again, I'm going to put it out there. If you don't ask if they have a discount, if they don't give a discount, if they're not willing to work with a certain program, you're never going to know. So it's really important to be proud and say, like, I'm a veteran. Do you have a discount? Right. I think that's important to help people through. But I think the biggest problem is that people didn't understand how to use a VA loan. So
what's the difference between a VA loan? What makes a VA loan a VA loan?
Well, you obviously have to have your eligibility, being that you were in the service, and then we can go into that criteria, and I'll definitely have that, give you some links and some sites to pass out to everybody when it comes to that. But I think that people it's education. So VA loans are different from conventional loans because we don't have to put down money. We don't have to have that, that takes away the PMI aspect of it, which is a mortgage that you have to, personal mortgage insurance. So when you're looking at all these things, I think a lot of people look and go to conventional because it's just, that's what they knew. They didn't realize that the VA loan, because it's got such a bad stigma, unfortunately, thinking that the inspections are going to be crazy, the appraisals are going to be crazy. There's all these old wives' tales, as I like to call them, about VA loans. And I think in this market, transitioning from that question, but in this market, I think a lot of people don't understand what a VA loan is. As a listing agent, person selling your home may look at that offer coming in with a VA loan identifier, and they panic like, oh, that's not a good loan. You don't want to take that offer. And I think that that's the biggest hiccup we're running into in this currently crazy fun market of real estate right now.
Why are people doing that? Why? So you have people that are selling homes that are getting offers, and they see that it's via a VA loan. Is it just the rumors about the inspections and appraisals, or is there more to it?
To be completely ethical in that statement, it is the listing agent's responsibility and required by law to present every single offer to their agent or to their buyer, right? Or to their seller, sorry. And say, these are all the offers that came onto the table. They have to do that legally. When it comes down to it, if a VA loan has a better offer price, and it could be a financing issue, if you're not educated in understanding what a conventional loan looks like and a VA loan looks like, you may say this probably is a stronger offer when you just maybe didn't even understand what a VA loan is and what the nuances that come with it. Every loan's a little bit different. By no means am I speaking to this as anything but just what I've learned over the time, because I am not a mortgage broker. I am not a lender. We have people for that, and we can definitely get names and reference, referrals out to them. But this is just what I know, I've heard, and gotten the feedback from my colleagues, in this world where I'm just I'm a selling agent for listing and buying. So
right. Well, I want to talk about who all the players are, because sometimes people don't understand. Oh, Sarah says hi. Hi, Sarah. How are you? Boy, it's been a long time. We got a straight up Wisconsin Veterans Chamber of Commerce family reunion here right now. Good to see you. So, I mean, there's a mortgage broker, there's a mortgage lender, there's a seller's agent, there's a buyer's agent, then there's an appraisal and an auditor and an inspector and there's all these things and these moving pieces. And I want to get into those for maybe people that might not understand it. We'll get mortgage 101. But before we do that, if we're talking specifically about VA loans,
Yes.
you mentioned that you have to obviously be eligible. Somebody just walking down the street who never served could not get a VA loan. You got to be a vet.
Correct.
And so the question is what criteria make you a vet officially? And I'm asking that with my yellow spray painted finger.
Your yard work fingers.
My hard work finger. And I'm asking you that because I know that very recently there has been a change to that definition.
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. I'm super excited about the National Guard definition. It came out April 15th from the Veterans Benefits Administration.
Mm-hmm.
And we can get that out. So you guys, if anybody wants to read it, look at it, I'm sure you'll pop a link out or do your magic over there. But the cool thing about it is that it has changed the definition of what veteran means with the criteria changes. So before, a lot of the times, and I think we've spoke about this the whole time we've talked in the chamber about what the definition of a veteran is. And that wasn't, I think National Guard and reservists didn't really feel like they were part of that kind of definition of a veteran because, you know, they were part-time, but they weren't full-time. And then they got activated, but did that qualify them as a veteran? Because did they do 190 days? Did they do 7,000 days? It always was changing. And then they didn't get that identifier that allows them to get qualified for the veteran loan. So I'm very
saying is somebody could have served in the Guard or Reserves and in the past been activated for 30 days and then in total service had less than that requisite 180 days and served their country honorably and maybe all over the country or overseas and everything, but wouldn't technically by definition be considered a veteran?
I mean, that I don't know if we could go into all those numbers you just threw at me.
Sure, but if you didn't meet the criteria,
yes, we didn't have that. There wasn't that bubble that they fit in because it wasn't really defined. So historically, people may or may not know, Wisconsin had their longest reservist Guard activation. I know for that it was well over 8 months.
A couple years ago, right?
You know what? COVID.
I think they got back just before COVID, didn't they?
2019 is 2016 and 2020 was the future. I don't even know.
Time is pretty fluid right now, isn't it?
It's all over the place, but it was very current. I believe it was during, I want to say the latter part of 2019 through almost all of 2020, if I remember correctly. And I'm sure people can look that up. But the cool thing
look that up. I didn't. COVID just destroyed time.
Destroyed everything. Like I don't even know who I am half the time. So the cool thing is that here, I'll read it to you exactly.
Okay, please do.
To be eligible, the member must have performed not less than 90 cumulative days of full-time National Guard duty, of which at least 30 of those days must have been consecutive. So then it goes into full-time National Guard duties include, and then it breaks it down. So people can now go to this document that's been punched out and is now officially in until what was the recession date? I think it's 2024. So right now this is firm. We now have I think the last group that I heard number wise, give or take 800 that qualified. Now
due to the change?
Correct. Yes.
In the state of Wisconsin.
Correct. Now, as of January 5th, 2021, if you were denied for the VA eligibility for the loan, reapply and you will now get passed through. So it's all
veteran sticker on your driver's license too. You get free trout stamps at Walmart, now you're a
right.
And we may have considered you.
Vet. Like I just walk around holding my card up when I'm in a mood. Like I'm a vet. Thing.
If you served overseas in the National Guard for 60 days or whatever, and you didn't previously meet the criteria, You have every right to consider yourself a veteran, and we considered you a veteran too, right? It's
We
not,
always did, right? Like,
we're talking about like the Department of Defense's dictionary definition of what is a veteran and what
mhm.
qualifies you for
Yes,
veteran benefits, and
yes,
that has changed in a way that has made it more inclusive to people that have served in a guard or reserve capacity. Is that accurate? Kind of accurate summation?
absolutely accurate.
Excellent.
Absolutely. And it's very exciting to see this kind of change, especially with everything that's been going on, and making sure that our veterans are being taken care of. I think that's super, super important. And we do
Absolutely.
a good job as a state. I mean, we do. We take
It's a good
really good
state.
care.
It's a
Yeah,
good state. Yeah.
right? Now,
So,
I wanna throw at you,
mm,
because I know that you and I had been talking about the so just to kind of make other people jealous and others, in from other states, you
throw it
can
out there.
if you're over 70% in some states, 50% in other states. I mean, it kind of varies. You get your property tax written off as a veteran. Well,
Right.
Wisconsin now has it sent to the committee, and it is sitting with them currently for over 70% or over.
Hmm.
Obviously, the 100% qualifies. That's a federal.
Hmm.
State-wise, we're looking at getting it to be right around that 70 or more mark, where our
Hmm.
property taxes will be written off. And what that means is you pay it every month. At the end of the year, when you file, that check comes back to you. So,
Oh, okay. Because I
yeah.
had that in
So,
Illinois. Illinois was 70 or higher for a
yep.
full write off.
Correct.
And so I had a full write off of property taxes in Illinois. And I actually went to the city or to the county and registered it. And it didn't come out,
Correct.
you know?
Correct.
And so
Right.
Wisconsin now has a property tax write off if you are 100% service connected disabled. Um, but it is currently being passed in a bipartisan fashion. Try not to have a heart attack over me saying that. In the state of Wisconsin, there is
Purple.
bipartisan legislation
Mm-hmm.
in the state of Wisconsin that's actually being pushed forward to change the eligibility for a property tax write-off to include 70% or higher, which would be huge. And why is that huge? Not just because that would be lovely for a lot of people, but it is an important aspect of talent acquisition. If we want to acquire people that are getting out of the service and say, come to Wisconsin, we are one of the only states that have a state GI Bill. We have a robust VA network. We have all of these benefits and blah, 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 blah. And oh, by the way, you won't pay property taxes. We make Wisconsin a destination for
Absolutely.
for transitioning veteran talent. We want more of those people in our community. They're good for our economy. They're good for us socially. It's
Yeah.
a good thing to attract those type of people and that type of talent. And we want to do it. And we have an uphill battle because our weather stinks like 4 months out of the year.
It's
So yeah, so we really need to draw people in.
I tell
So
people that's why Texas is number one. It's just because it's warm down there.
I lived in Texas for a few years. I love Texas. I was stationed down there.
Texas
So,
is nice.
so here's a question.
Sure.
And I did promise that we were going to talk about all the players. But before that, why would somebody want to buy or refinance a home right now? And this is, of course, very general. She's not giving financial advice to anyone specifically.
Disclaimer.
Asterisk. All right. But is now, for many people, the time to own a home? Is it smart in the current economy?
That's a loaded question, to be honest with you.
I know. I
mean,
really put you on the spot with that one.
it's okay. I don't mind it at all. I think it's a very raw and real question. And I think that I can give you my, boots on ground kind of feel for it. Like, it's tough right now for a buyer in this market because there's some cosmic weird thing going on where everybody's just fighting for every little house that's out there. And a lot of that had to do with what happened with COVID. Everybody kind of shut down. We shut down as a country, we shut down as a world. And we put people in their homes and we said, stay here, don't go anywhere. So everybody was like, okay, we're going to do what we're supposed to do. And then they started making improvements on their homes.
Well, not everybody.
Well,
yeah.
It made you realize if you're really like the person you decided to stay with.
I made home improvements.
Exactly. Like the whole time, I watched your ceiling go up. It was amazing.
Yeah. This office was a cement floor, spidery nonsense.
Oh yeah, you did have spiders. I didn't. That was not fun.
What's that?
Spiders. The spiders creep me out. That was all the whole thing.
Spiders.
Especially if they're crawling on you during meetings. It was weird.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
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 Good
She was on
times.
Zoom meetings with me when I was taking the whole thing apart. You
Yes,
know,
I
down to
was.
the studs in this whole basement. But a
Yes.
lot of people did home improvements, and now,
Well,
so
and
what you're saying is,
right. So now they're looking at the market. They're coming out of this. We're starting to lighten the load. We're starting to move forward with everything that's going on, all the changes. And they're still, the economy is still making it a little timid for them to get out there and just want to naturally move, naturally grow. You know, I've grown out of my house. I should move. Now they're looking at it like, I could get all this money in my pocket, but where am I going to go? Because we do have a shortage of homes for our buyers.
so there's not a lot of houses out there.
No,
So it's
no.
a seller's market. There's a lot
It
of
is
people
definitely a
fighting.
seller's market. It's an absolutely beautiful seller's market. All of the ones that I'm actually coming out with some listings over the next couple months, and it's very exciting. But I get
And they're
excited.
just going like that.
I'm lucky. Great example. Yesterday, walking through with one of my clients, having a
Mhm.
great time. They're like,
Mhm.
"This is it, Kit. This is the one." I rush home. I'm writing up the offer, and before I could send it off to get signatures, boom! I got the infamous alert. We're now under contract. They literally went under contract while we were walking through the showing. So
Goodness.
it went
Seller's
on
market.
that morning. It is a seller's market, but people have to buy. They have no choice. There are people out there that still have to move. There are people out there that still have to. So if you're considering, selling your home right now, first off, me, Roots Realty, right here.
There you go.
Throw that out there.
There it is.
I'm all over the internet. Find me. But basically, if you want and you have the ability to move into a rental for a while you look for your next home, you're gonna do well in this market, selling your home. Buying in this market's tough, but I am a firm believer, like I tell all my clients and the ones that I'm currently working with and have been for a while, some of them, it's going to happen. And when it does, it happens. As all home buyers will say, when you walked into the house, you fell in love, you submitted an offer, it got accepted, you closed, you have keys. It is that simple, but the journey getting to that moment isn't always. So if we're looking at it from boots on ground, it's a tough market to buy in. It's not impossible. It's not
So
impossible.
it's competitive. So we're not looking at low ball. Like if you want a house, you do a full price offer is pretty much the standard going thing right now. And
Full price? No. Not full
above
price.
full price?
Oh yeah.
Well above. Okay. So there is a low supply. This is supply and demand, folks. But it's
this is voodoo economics 101.
Mhm.
Economics 101. Supply, demand.
Yeah. But it's not horrible for the buyer though. Like aside from the competitive part aspect, the timing of it, and then the understanding that you're not going to get a deal on a house, that the listing price is your bare minimum and you're going to need to make a competitive offer. But aside from that, rates don't suck right now.
No, they don't. Honestly,
They really don't.
no, we hit a point, and I can speak to this. We were sitting there like, is there going to be a point where banks are even making money? Because we got so incredibly low. And now, what we needed that check and balance. We needed the rates to go up just enough so that people felt comfortable, like not just wanting to get into that refinancing beautiful, bubble.
I refinanced 3 months ago.
No, I took advantage of it too, right? I knew I wasn't
low.
I don't have to move. I mean, I've had people come and ask me if I'll sell my home, and I'm like, that's bold, and I like that, but no, not right now. Like, I'll move into your house. Will you sell it to me? And we are there, like it's tough, but once we all feel a little bit more secure, I think overall we're going to start seeing that shift. If we're looking at the historical data, just follow the wave, because it's gonna be the same wave every time. It just takes time to get to it. So
right.
But it's my full-time job. It's what I do, and I'm surviving and thriving. So it's obviously not, a terrible thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just fast paced right now. So
it's fast paced. Yeah.
So you say it's your full-time job. Good segue. Let's talk about the key players. Let's say you want to buy a home, you reach out, you see a listing on Zillow. By the way, Zillow listings are like ancient news. You will never, never be able to purchase one of those homes.
Stop it.
Like,
But no,
no,
it's rough.
it's
But
old. That's old news. That's not updated in time. You need to
yeah,
talk to an expert. So you reach out to Kit. You want to buy a house. You say, Kit, help me buy a house. What is your role? What do you do? And how do you represent that person that reached out to you?
I think the best way to look at what a real estate agent is in your transaction and why it is so important to have one backing you up. I respect for sale by owners. I respect the people going out there thinking that they're good. They got this on their own. We're here to take the package of chaos. I call it the Pandora box, and I hold the box. And I make sure that everything that is in it and doing and transition wise, timelines, everything, it falls on me. It's my responsibility to make my people know whenever the whole hand holding through the whole transaction from start to finish. I have the relationship with the lender. I have the relationship with the title company. I have the relationship with the buying or listing agent. I'm making sure that this is going smoothly. The only thing I want my clients to do is say, this is the house, smile when I call them, take their keys, and stay in touch so I can see the amazing memories they're going to make in their home, or see the people that I'm selling their home get excited about an offer and see them close a chapter in their life and know that they're opening it up to another family to make great memories. That is a job as your agent, period, to make sure that you are being pulled through this whole entire thing, because there's your lender, you got to get stuff from work, you got to get stuff from the title company. I mean, there's so many moving parts to this that I think a lot of people don't realize. It's not just walk into a house, offer money, and then close. There are so many things and moving parts in between there that really, really are important to have somebody that's got your back. And that's the beauty of what I do, is that I have your back. I know all the timelines and the deadlines and how to make sure that you're taken care of.
So you're the buyer's agent, let's say. You're representing me. I'm looking for a house. You're my buyer's agent. Am I buying the house from you?
No.
No. Who am I buying the house from?
You're
the
buying
seller's
the house,
agent?
The seller. You're buying the house from the seller.
The seller, but I don't talk to the seller at all.
No.
The seller has an agent too.
Correct. Most of them do, yes.
Right. So and I've been through this process and I know it. I'm just trying to explain it in base level for anybody that hasn't been through it, because it's confusing.
It can be.
But I'm not buying the house from Zillow. I'm not buying it from whatever online listing. I'm not buying it from my agent.
Nope.
And if I see a house online, an MLS listing, and it says that this house is being offered by ABC Realty and Jane Smith is the realtor, I don't reach out personally to that agent. That's the selling agent. I'm not buying it from, like, that's not a relationship. I don't buy it directly from the seller's agent. Seller's agent isn't going to talk to me. I need a buying agent to talk to them.
Your seller agent can help you. You know, they turn you into a dual agency. I mean, that is absolutely possible. If you're unrepresented, you can go to the listing agent and say, hey, I see you have this house for sale. Can you help me through this? I can work both transactions, and it's always at a benefit to both people within that transaction, you know, when I'm working it that way. But most people, I always recommend, like, you know, if you don't have an agent, get an agent. Because when you're a buyer for my company, you don't pay me anything. You are only taking care of the commission doesn't even come out of your pocket. I am strictly there to make sure you're taken care of.
So let's say that again, though. So, because some people get butthurt about commissions, you know, I don't need a real estate agent. There's commissions. They're worth every penny because they handle a lot of stuff.
Right.
But that portion, if I'm buying a house, am I paying a commission?
No, the seller's paying the commission.
The seller pays the commission.
Right.
So Kit is helping me to buy a house, and I know that she's working in my best interest.
Yes.
She's not getting money from me. She gets paid her commission, as does the seller's agent, from the sale of the home.
At the closing of the transaction, we invest our time and energy into this because we want to make sure that your financial and family is taken care of. Like, that's what we do as agents. We're here to make sure that this is a transition that's smooth on both sides of the house. And it is in the most benefit of the agents to work together to make sure that it's taken care of.
But
So
you're not paying if you're buying a house, you're not paying the buyer's agent, you're not paying the seller's agent, you're not paying any agent, you're just buying a house.
you're buying a house, there's always going to be fees that come along with that, as and I can go through all of that soon enough. But when it comes down to it, when you buy a home with Roots Realty, you don't pay us anything. We're just there to make sure that this transaction happens, because the way that we get paid is when the deal closes. And so your best interest after signing the buyer's agency agreement, that alone, boom, we're there for you. That's all we're trying to do, is make sure that you're taken care of and that you walk through this transaction and feel solid through the whole thing. It's
So
important.
I want to talk about mortgages. But before I do that, hey, if you're watching Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitch, please throw out a comment. We have a lot of Facebook comments today.
We do.
Friends, we got Facebook comments, but nobody from LinkedIn has chimed in and said hello. We would love to hear from you, LinkedIn, unless it's one of those things where I'm just randomly missing LinkedIn comments, which, I love StreamYard. I love StreamYard, but it happens sometimes, and it's very, very frustrating. So I'm gonna check right now. Look, I got comments. See, they didn't come through.
See?
That's the thing. I got some from Jane Babcock. Jane, gosh, I'm so sorry I didn't see your stuff pop up in my comments. That's why I usually have LinkedIn on the side so I don't miss it. And this was the one day I was like, I'm not sure I need to do that. Well, and I missed Jane Babcock. Jane, I'm so sorry. And I'm not really sure what context that was in because I missed it. My bad. I'm sorry, Jane. If you want to clarify what it was, you were talking about eligible widows information. Bill mentioned something about to the spouse of a deceased veteran that died because of a service connection disability. Maybe you were saying is eligible for VA benefits. But go ahead and clarify.
They are eligible for
Okay.
Yes, as long as they are not remarried,
Mm-hmm.
And that they died with a service connection disability or due to a service incident, that the surviving spouse does qualify for the VA loan. They do. Absolutely.
If a surviving spouse remarries, they're no longer eligible for surviving spouse benefits? For surviving dependent benefits?
That is a whole nother conversation we could absolutely have. And I know it sounds super abrasive, and I think that there's a lot more to it. There's qualifiers.
Sure. Yeah, that's for a veteran benefits conversation.
But honestly, it sounds terrible. But when you look and you strip it back from the emotional side of it, you were married to the service member. That is your link to the community. Once you are no longer in that linkage, you're a civilian for sure. It doesn't mean that you're not honored by your spouse's service.
Right.
It's just you've moved on because you no longer get their surviving benefits either. So you lose everything when you remarry.
Interesting. I learned something today. So as we're rounding third here and making our way on home, I could talk to you about this for hours.
Yes.
But we're missing a really important key player in this whole thing. We talked about the buyer and the seller and the selling agent and the buyer's agent. Who helps me pay for the house?
That's going to be your mortgage lender.
Mortgage lender? What's a mortgage lender?
Your mortgage lender is the person that is going to specialize and I like to specifically say mortgage lender. I don't like to say just go to your bank. You want to find a mortgage lender. I think we've got a few great ones within the Chamber family as well, and I'm sure that
always
commented a few times.
You're so good at that. But why do I want to go? And Jane just popped in and she said, let's talk about survivor benefits one day. Jane, absolutely. It's a date. Let's talk about it. Kit, why do I want a mortgage lender?
You want a mortgage lender because they have access and the tools and the knowledge and the training and all those little acronyms behind their name that focuses solely on mortgage lending, underwriting, understanding all of that. It's very, very important that you find the right person who is accessible. That is huge. And when I say that, I'm not saying don't go to your bank. Okay, all you people out there, don't freak out. I'm not saying don't go to your bank. You just have to make sure you're interviewing a couple really good people and candidates, because I've had a crisis on a Sunday night. The bank's not open on Sunday night, but my mortgage lender was. And I called him on his cell phone and he got me exactly what I needed and my deal got done. So it's very important to go with somebody who understands that there really isn't a timeline for home buying and crises and all the other stuff that comes along with it. You need somebody that's accessible. And you also need
Yeah.
somebody who is hyper focused and really digging into the market and understanding the rates and how you lock them in and they drop and they go and all that fun stuff that goes with buying a home, which is getting your documents put together properly and making sure that you're being taken care of. Because I don't want to say what one that's on like the radio and TV that throws
Mhm.
out there saying we can get your rates down low. Well, yeah, but then you're charging $13,000 for closing costs, and that comes out of
Right.
my pocket.
Well, they can get your rates down super duper low. You just have to buy those
You just
rates.
basically, yeah, like
There's
so
a
at
lot
the
that
end of,
goes into it.
I
It's
won't say who
it's
that is either, but it's for me, it's really important to know and have a really good relationship with your mortgage lender. Interview a few of them. Don't just be
mm,
like, absolutely, that's the greatest one. Like, understand what the difference is between the companies.
right.
And again, come to the chamber. Look at our the net hour. It'll always be ours.
Well, you can say our. You're still part of
Come
the
to the
family
chamber.
here.
Look at who we've got in the chamber as far as mortgage
Mhm.
lenders go and everything like that. And
Mhm.
then absolutely consider signing up, and then you guys can come to all the events. So
Right on.
plug there
Look,
for my predecessor.
look, for sale by owner is possible. You can do it. I've bought several houses in my life, and let me tell you, unless you know what you're doing, for sale by owner is a huge, huge pain in the butt. And you end up, yeah, you save some money, but in many cases, you end up getting a better deal in the long run
Mhm.
by leveraging the information, the discounts, the rates, and all of those good things that,
Negotiation.
and negotiation
Mhm.
that come with having a trusted expert in your corner. I can't
Absolutely.
tell you what to do with your money. I'm not going to tell you what to do with your money. Disclaimer. However, in my personal experience, I'm never going to futz with for sale by owner.
I only
Uh,
laughed because I watched it. So I mean,
yeah,
it's,
we've all seen it happen. We've all seen it happen. So, friends, Kit, I appreciate your time today. I
anytime you
hope
guys need
everybody
me,
was
I'm
able to get some good information. It is money month. May is money month, all month long, and so hopefully we gave you some at least some things to chew on because big money decision is whether or not you buy a house. That's a big decision.
there. That is
Um,
the biggest. Some of the biggest decisions you will make will come out of your home.
yeah, and
So it's
we didn't tell you all the ins and outs.
mm,
We gave you a high level overview and told you who the key players are and things to consider. And hopefully you'll reach out to somebody like Kit or reach out just to Kit and get pointed in the right direction, get the help you need to make a smart financial decision when it comes to your real estate. Now, August for us is real estate month.
yes, it is.
So we're actually collaborating with Kit and Bill Meisel and a lot of our friends on a pretty epic event. And
Yes,
we're going to tell you more
it's
about it.
my
That's
birthday month too.
ooh. This year's my birthday year, actually.
Hey,
I've been celebrating all year long. It's my birthday year.
I'm not surprised on any level.
Kit, I appreciate you. I'll ask you to hang on the
My
line really quick, just 1 second. Man, a lot of good information there. Appreciate y'all tuning in. For those of you that knew stuff about real estate and mortgages and whatnot, maybe you got confirmation that your beliefs or processes were accurate. Maybe you learned a tidbit here or there. And for people that haven't gone through the process, you're thinking maybe I should buy my first home, or maybe should I refinance? Should I use a VA loan? Should I tell my uncle to use a VA loan? Whatever. You're armed with information. We're putting tools in your toolbox. And one of those tools is going to be yellow lawn spray paint, marking spray paint. Look at that. Bush League. Come on, man. Get your act together. We'll see you next week.